Hey guys, it's Raggy Rog here. Today I want to talk about Marvel and the movies that they make. And one little thing in particular that I don't really like about their movies. Now, I don't really want this channel to turn into a things I hate channel, so I want to preface that I don't hate Marvel. There's just one little thing that I really don't care for in their movies. And in the future, I'm totally going to get around to talking about things that I like because that makes for a better video, I think. So, what I dislike in Marvel films is their obsession with science and needing to explain everything with science. Probably like a decade or so ago, there were scientific explanations for things that happened in Marvel films and cartoons and stuff. Like, where did Spider-Man get his powers? Radioactive spider bit him. Easy as. And you can call that a scientific explanation for all intents and purposes. It is, but it wasn't like the focus of the whole story. Seems like Marvel films in particular want to put a real lens on their characters' origin stories and the science behind them. If you take like Ant-Man, for example, Ant-Man's power, he can make himself to the size of an ant and back again, and he retains all of his density and blah, 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 blah. Science. Throwing science at that story. And I get it. It's cool that they can explain it with science. But I don't think I needed to understand the science of that movie to appreciate it. If Scott Lang had actually just found the Ant-Man costume without ever getting an explanation, if no one actually coached him on how to use the suit or anything, it would have still been an enjoyable movie. But instead, they had to take this whole little tangent where they slowed things down and they explained how the belt has PIM particle stabilizers in it and turns that into a gas and pumps that through the suit, blah, 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 shortens the distance between atoms in the body. Science. I came here for a fun, entertaining movie, not a science lesson. And again, it's cool, and I know that a lot of people probably really like that they integrate science into these films. It's great. But I just fear that there's a little too much focus on the science side. You see it like all over YouTube too. You see people like posting videos like the science behind Thor's hammer, Captain's shield, how does the Hulk transform through emotion, blah, blah, blah. It's like, one fear that I have about this whole thing is that by restricting yourself to the laws of science, you're restricting your ability to tell an interesting story. Something that could not happen outside the realm of science can't really happen in a movie. And that puts a little stopper on what they can do. Things like, how unreal would it be if Iron Man beat the Hulk in an arm wrestling competition? Just for lols, right? As a joke, as like a gag. That's not a great example, but you know it will never happen because the science won't let it happen. Now, it's not that big of a deal, but I like when a film can just focus on like the action and the things that happen and not the why. It's like, this is probably the main reason why, when it comes to my fictional interests, I lean more towards like make-believe fantasy. When watching The Last Unicorn, and the wizard turns the girl into a unicorn or into a person, turns her into a human being, it was magic. And no one's questioning that. No one sat there and goes, well, how is that possible? She was a unicorn. This doesn't make sense. The science doesn't add up. Because it's not science. It's magic. So we're all just able to sit there and keep watching the movie without interruption, without stopping, without, thinking too hard. It's just a fun movie about a unicorn who's turned into a girl and her adventure. We were able to get through the plot and experience all the things without stopping and criticizing. I feel like films should be more about the journey rather than the how and why. I mean, it's a funny thing. Like, you've got stories like that in Marvel where things are just explained for no reason, and it's fun. The entire X-Men universe revolves around people who just have powers. But I did a little Google search on this, and it's explained by science. Like, it's not proper science, it's like pseudoscience for the plot. But it's this whole law that they've locked themselves into, like they've decided that's it. The way it works is like every X-Men has like an X gene and it's positioned on their 23rd chromosome or something like that, and this is how it works, and that's why they have their powers. And they've locked themselves in. Now they can't just... So what makes the difference between a regular superhero and an X-Man? It's too much science. Too much science. You're drawing barriers between characters and plots, and that's going to make plot holes eventually. I just feel like I'd enjoy movies a lot more if there was less of a focus on the why and more on the what they're doing. Even the other why. Not why do they have their powers, but why are they doing what they're doing with their powers? That's a cool idea. Anyways, that's just how I feel about it, and I get it that the science is something that a lot of people are really into. Those YouTube videos I talked about earlier where people discuss the science are a testament to how cool it is. It just bothers me, and I'm not saying that there's no room for it. I just wish it was less of the focus. Anyways, those are my thoughts. I promise that in the future I will make videos about things that I do like, and this will be less of a rant channel. Until then, stay safe. I'll see you next time.